the good life wasn't something you chase, but something you create intentionally, soulfully, moment by moment. On this episode of Inner Light, we are joined by Claudia M. Gallegos, a spiritual life coach, speaker, and master of weaving Akashic wisdom into everyday clarity. She speaks the language of the soul across cultures, across lives. And today, she is here to help us ignite joy, purpose, and conscious living from the inside out. Welcome to the show, Claudia. It's an honor to have you.
Hello, Anya. Thank you for the invitation. I'm very pleased. I'm very happy to join you today.
Mhm. So, you speak of life as an art form. What does the art of a good life mean to you personally?
It means let's do a little backup. When I started, when I started working, my whole focus was work, and I forgot about being a person who works and not just a person not just a person. To have the privilege of being and not being because I do something. So it took a long time for me to encounter myself and to discover that work was part of life and not the fundamental part of my life. It doesn't mean that we don't work. It means that we have mm, different sections, different. We have portions of life to work, some others to enjoy, some others to share with friends and family, some others to for community service. But basically, um, we have to cultivate ourselves and find where we resonate better. And based on that, we can create the life we want. It's easy. No, it's not easy because many times we have to challenge the beliefs of the society we live in, the family we grew up in. We have to challenge our own beliefs about ourselves. So it's a process of discovering who we really are, and it's a process of in that process is discovering how you can create the life that makes you happy. And that is an art. It's research, it's discovery, it's studying oneself, and it's also enjoying. And the enjoyment part is a very, very, very important part for me because um, we can be intentional. We can have a real drive to find what is the reason we are in this physical existence.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And can that definition evolve? And how do we know when it's time to redefine it?
The time to redefine it is every time we feel that we are stuck, that we're not flowing. There's if you look at the at water, if you look at a river or you're near the ocean, you never see the water stopping because there's a stone, for example. The water finds ways to move softly around the stone. But we as humans, we instead of flowing like water, we get stuck. And when we get stuck, we start piling up our energy and our thoughts, and we cannot flow. It's a constant adaptation. It's not a fixed formula that we have. We found it's not a fixed formula that we find, and then it's always like that. No, it's flowing because we are changing all the time and we are evolving and we are um, finding that some things that were, or some people, or some activities that we did before were important before, but now we're not resonating with that. It's um like when you hear a piano or a guitar played by someone who plays all the notes, everything plays and is harmonious, or someone who doesn't know very well how to play and it sounds a little discordant. um so it's to is training our ear and be constantly adjusting to sound, to find our perfect sound with ourselves, the perfect music with ourselves. And that striving to do that is what helps us to flow, to move through life softer, with a lot more joy, with a lot more fun also. It's not a process of suffering. I think in this process, joy and fun and laughter and experimentation are keys to create something that is really, really powerful for us.
That spaciousness in self definition feels like the starting point of freedom.
It is. That is the starting point for free. It is the starting point for freedom. Why? Because um, even when we chose, from the spiritual point of view, we chose, our soul chose this experience. Um, it doesn't mean that we have to live the experience through suffering, but we have to transcend the experience. So every time we transcend an experience is when we become more and more free. Freedom is a predominant in this process. And when the more we are in the frequency of freedom, the more we are vibrating at a high rate, which makes our life to move easier. Which not our lives. It makes us move through our life easier. So in when my Buddhist teacher used to say at the beginning of the sessions, meditation sessions or teaching sessions, he used to say, "May all beings be happy and free," and that is our plan in this life. All these suffering experiences are contrast for us to see ourselves better, not to get stuck there, is to gain freedom, to gain joy, to gain the reconnection to our true self, which is our soul.
That's amazing. And how do the Akashic records help people reconnect with their soul's path in practical, everyday terms?
Well, this is one of the things I observe very frequently. People are not connected with themselves. So when we open the Akashic records, and I have the privilege to do it for my clients, um, is to reconnect with oneself, and that connection through the Akashic records is giving you the big picture, right? It's like when you go to the movies or to the cinema, and you see a very close first close close up of a person, and you see the face and you can see every expression. And then the camera goes back and back and back and back, and you see more and more details, and you see that that person is in a room, or is sitting in a park. And then you can see, you go back and can see the park, and you can see the trees, and you can see the flowers, and you can see a stream. And then you go back and you see the whole city, and then you go back and you can see the country. Well, the Akashic Records help to do that. The Akashic Records help for us to the Akashic Records help for us to see the big picture and to focus sometimes on the issues that we need to rediscover, where we need to work, where we need to understand, always from higher spiritual point of view. It's never about discovering physical things. Of course, the more attuned we are with our spiritual being, the more it reflects in our physical reality, which is a fun thing to do, right? That was the complete plan for us. So it's a balance between the ethereal world and the physical world. Is what we find in the ethereal world that is a lesson for us, that presents in this life as as a challenge, as a learning curve, and we move forward to the next step. I see in my clients that their lives change so much, and I am so grateful. I am so grateful for them, because when they change, I change. When they evolve, I evolve. And is it's an exchange of energy, right? And leveling our energy up.
Mm-hmm, 100%. And what's a common message or theme you say repeating for many in this season of life?
A common theme is love. You know, one of the many of my clients come to a consultation because they have love aches. They're having, sometimes people that are in difficult relationships, that are hurting because they had um, not very good relationships with their parents or co-workers. It's always about love, and it's not only about the external love, but the self-love. And as we go um, removing layer by layer of the pain, we are also discovering what is the lesson and how to transcend it. Um, it's um, it's a beautiful mm, it's a beautiful process of evolution, and my clients report that their lives become better. And one of the most important things is they start understanding that, because they think the more you regain that connection, the more you become successful in your physical life. It sounds a little counterintuitive, right? But the more you regain the connection, the more you regain the love for yourself, the more you become more successful in your physical life. And in that process, there's a lot of discovery. There's tears, there's joy, there's anger, there's laughter. Um, but the main objective is to help your soul evolve, and in the meantime having a lot of fun, right?
Right, and it's fascinating how ancient wisdom can speak so directly to a modern chaos.
Well, really, the ancient wisdom talks like us with our language. It doesn't need sophisticated words. It needs our day-to-day language because we need to understand it. And um, the wisdom is expressed in a way, in the best way we are going to understand it. For example, I have a client that the Akashic Records communicate with her in a very funny way, and she laughs a lot during the sessions. And that in that way, she gets lighter. She doesn't get so serious, and not getting so serious allows her to receive better. Some other people need something different. Another client of mine was very light on his life, like everything was a joke. So the expression of the Akashic records came very grave, very sober, very formal, with very scientific and spiritual words. So the Akashic records understand completely. They can see us like a translucent glass. And when they see us in that way with loving eyes, I cannot express the amount of love they transmit to us. When they see us like that, in is when we evolve, and they bring the messages, and we can work with the Akashic records for years, and we will see how where we start, right, and how we evolve, and how we overcome our challenges, and how we go from having poor relationships to have good relationships, and to be stressed out all the time, to be relaxed and having challenges anyway. But instead of suffering, understanding that is a step in the direction of our evolution. And that is a great joy.
It absolutely is. And you've lived and worked across cultures. How has that shaped your view of what makes a good life?
Um, I go around, I grew up in Argentina, even when it's the southern tip of South America. I always loved different cultures, and I always wanted to know more. And I always read a lot. And then traveling around the world as much as I can, and talking to people, and talking a lot to people, and with an open heart, without a plan, that expands who I am, expands the expression of my soul, because everybody brings wisdom to my life. Everybody brings love in the way it's expressed in each culture. Everybody brings delicious foods and jokes and films and music. So all those components are what I call the art of a good life.
And that shared humanity, when we listen deeply, feels like a sacred thread.
The sacred is that we are sacred. We are sacred in every single moment we live. And the troubles come when people are disconnected from the sacred. They're disconnected from understanding that we are all here in the same mission. We're in a mission of learning, we're in a mission of having fun, we're in a mission of understanding compassion and expanding compassion. We're in a mission of love. We are in a mission of love. And the more we understand that, the, the more expansion we will have, and the more we will succeed in having a beautiful life.
Definitely. The good life isn't a destination, it's a creation, a choice, and a rhythm we return to with intention. Claudia reminded us that when we align with soul, even the simplest days can feel sacred. So today, take a moment to pause, breathe, and ask, what would your artful life look like? Then go live with a brushstroke of it. And until next time, keep illuminating your path from within.